Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're sinking our teeth into V Rising. Yes, I said it, and vampire jokes will happen. Sorry in advance. This game has been out of early access for a while now. It's sold millions of copies and it just keeps getting updates. So the big question is it still worth playing in 2025? Whether you're completely new or maybe you played during early access and you're wondering if it's time to come back, I'll break everything down, the good, the bad, and the slightly grindy. Let's bite in. First impressions? Atmosphere. That's where V Rising completely sinks its teeth in, pun intended. The moment you wake up in your coffin, weakened and starving, the world feels hostile but strangely beautiful. The setting is incredible. You start off sneaking through haunted forests where wolves prowl, bandits camp out, and sunlight itself is your biggest enemy. The environment around you is alive and many things are trying to kill you. Villages bustle with human hunters, priests are out to smite you, and the further you go, the darker and more dangerous the land becomes. Visually, it's gorgeous in a very deliberate way. This isn't ultra realistic graphics chasing photorealism, it's a stylized world drenched in atmosphere. Every shadow, every torchlight, every ruined chapel feels like it belongs in a vampire legend. The game loves its contrast too, with bright moonlight piercing through thick forests, bloody battlefields against calm rivers, candlelit castles with ominous red glows, and the small details sell it. Bats scatter when you pass through ruins. Mist creeps out of graveyards. Even your own castle feels alive once you build it, with glowing braziers, servant halls wandering about, and coffins light up in an eerie silence. There were so many moments where I just had to stop and look. Riding a horse through a swamp at night with fog swirling around me, it honestly felt like I was inside a vampire movie. One where I was both the villain and the hero. Let's talk combat now, because this is where V Rising really surprised me. It's not just a hack and slash when you mash buttons until something falls over. The fights have weight, speed, and a rhythm that keeps you locked in. Every weapon feels different. Swinging an axe is heavy and brutal, perfect for close range chops. The spear, sharp, precise, great for poking enemies or even pinning them down. And there's magic, and trust me, the magic is half the fun. You've got entire schools of vampiric sorcery, frost spells that freeze enemies in place, chaos flames that explode across the battlefield, shadow powers that let you vanish and reappear behind your victim. It's fast, flashy, and deeply satisfying when you chain your abilities together. But here's the thing. Combat isn't just about what you equip, it's about how you move. Dodging and timing matter. There's no auto blocking, no lazy combat here. So when a boss winds up a massive strike, you better get out of the way or you're going to be vampire pancakes. That constant push and pull, strike, dodge, cast, reposition gives fights a real sense of energy. And the bosses, wow, these aren't boring bullet sponges. Each one feels like its own puzzle. You've got wild beast alphas that leap at you, necromancers summoning armies of skeletons, paladins glowing with holy light that can melt you in seconds. What makes it even more rewarding is what happens after you win. You don't only get their loot, but you drink their blood. Literally. Every boss carries a unique ability in their veins, and when you drain them dry, you steal their power. That's how you grow, by hunting the powerful and taking what makes them dangerous. It makes victories feel personal, and in multiplayer, combat gets even crazier. PvP battles are wild. Dashes, spells, sword clashing, players transforming into giant vampire beasts mid-fight. Sometimes it's chaos, sometimes it's tactical brilliance, but it's always fun. Progression in V Rising is where the vampire fantasy really sinks in, and also where some players feel the grind chewing at them. At the start, you're weak. You're basically a mosquito with fangs. A farmer with a pitchfork can ruin your day, so every little upgrade feels huge. You start with ragged gear, chopping trees and mining stone. Before long, you're wielding crafted blades, summoning storms of fire, and crushing enemies that once terrified you. The steady climb from prey to predator is addictive. The loop goes like this: explore the world, hunt down bosses, gather resources, unlock new recipes, and bring everything back to your castle. You turn raw wood into planks, ore into ingots, and hides into leather. It's satisfying in that classic survival way. The moment where you finally craft that better weapon or upgrade your armor feels always earned. But here's the catch: the higher you climb, the slower it gets. Resources get rarer, enemies hit harder. Sometimes you spend more time chopping down entire forests just to power one new room in your castle. Or you'll find yourself farming the same mobs for hours just to get enough materials for your next upgrade. For some, that's a deal breaker. For others, that's the fun. It's the vampire equivalent of pumping iron at the gym. It's painful, but the results are worth it. And we, as a channel and a team, always embrace the grind in video games. There lies thousands of hours of fun and wonderful moments that you can share with your friends. What makes it special though is how progression isn't only tied to gear, it's also tied to blood. Every type of enemy you drain gives you different buffs. A warrior's blood makes you fight harder. A rogue's blood gives you speed and crit. Scholar's blood fuels your magic. It turns the grind into a choice. Do you risk sneaking into a guarded village just to find that 100% blood type, knowing one mistake could mean death? Those little moments of risk and reward make the grind feel alive. And there's the castle itself. Your progression isn't always just measured in numbers or gear score, it's reflected in your home. Early on, you've got a few stone walls and a coffin in the corner, but as you grind and grow, your castle becomes this towering gothic fortress, humming with crafting stations, glowing with eerie lights, filled with trolls that serve you. That sense of building something lasting is powerful. The game has few cosmetic DLCs which can make it even more thematic and beautiful. So yes, the grind is there. Sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it feels like you're a vampire lumberjack more than a dark overlord. But when you step back, look at your castle, look at your gear, and realize how far you've come, it's kind of hard not to feel a little proud of the monster that you've turned into. Now, if the solo experience makes you feel like a rising vampire lord, multiplayer and PvP crank that energy up to 11. This is where the game shifts from being a dark survival adventure into a full-on Game of Thrones. In co-op, the experience is instantly better. Building castle with friends, going on hunts together, splitting resources, everything just feels like you're running your own little vampire clan. One person is crafting weapons, another is farming materials, someone else is scouting the next boss. It's teamwork, but with a sinister edge. You walk into battle with 2 or 3 friends at your side and spells start flying everywhere, swords crashing and blood is spraying. But PvP? That's where things get spicy. Suddenly, every choice matters more. Do you build your castle out in the open where it looks epic, or truly tuck it in deep into the forest to hide from raiders? Do you keep all your rare loot on you, or do you stash it in base and pray no one breaks in? Thankfully, we never got attacked, but we watched multiple streamers and YouTube videos of castle raids to see what happens. Well, it isn't a pretty picture. Explosives going off, players storming halls, servants scrambling to fight back. It's pretty intense. And here's the thing, losing hurts. You can get raided, your treasure stolen, your pride shattered. But that danger is also what makes victories feel incredible. Defending your castle against invaders, holding the line with your clan, and finally watching the attackers retreat into the mist can be unforgettable. The PvP fights are fast, brutal, and flashy. You'll see players blinking across the map with shadow powers, dropping meteor showers of chaos flames, transforming into giant vampire beasts mid-battle. Sometimes it's a clean duel, sometimes it's a 10 on 10 free-for-all where all the spells light up the entire night sky. What makes multiplayer special is the politics. Clans rise and fall, alliances form, betrayals happen, and suddenly the server feels like its own vampire soap opera. Maybe you're working with another clan to take down a rival, or for them to stab you in the back later. Or maybe you're the underdog clan, slowly building up strength until you surprise the entire server with a castle siege no one saw coming. So yes, multiplayer and PvP are messy, unpredictable, and sometimes heartbreaking, but they're also part of V-Rising that gives it soul. A key factor that maintains V-Rising's freshness in 2025 is the extensive support and updates the developers have dedicated to the game. The game develops with each update, every downloadable content, and all community-driven adjustments. Since its release, the title has had completely new areas introduced to the map. Every one features its own distinct biome, exclusive foes, and concealed riches. The Oakvale update, for instance, not only broadened the world but also introduced a sense of risk and marvel that revitalized the excitement of exploration. You can never predict what you might encounter. Crafting has been simplified, performance enhanced, and multiplayer modified. PvP raids are more seamless, bosses deal more damage, and enhancements to quality of life make the experience of becoming a vampire easier. You sense that they're attuned to the community, which is important, particularly in a game that focuses on advancements and multiplayer engagement. Regarding DLCs, nearly all of them are purely cosmetic. Capes, banners, furnishing, throne room decoration, subtle enhancements that allow you to customize your castle without restricting content through payment barriers. It's a refreshing alternative to contemporary survival games that hide gameplay behind microtransactions. All of this results in a game that remains dynamic. Regardless of having played for countless hours, there's always a reason to return. Fresh foes, new areas, new gameplay features, the universe of V-Rising continually develops and you evolve alongside it. It's a vibrant, dynamic gothic sandbox where the journey never truly concludes. Obviously, no game is flawless, and even in 2025, V-Rising has flaws. The grind comes first. Some players believe it to be the actual vampire bite. You may feel as though you're trapped in a never-ending cycle of hunting the same bosses, mining ores, and cutting trees in order to enhance your castle or obtain the next tier of equipment through the mid to late game progression. It can feel tedious rather than satisfying if you're not the type of person who likes gradual advancement. There are quirks in the design, some clumsy crafting menus, slow resource hauling, and a lack of inventory spaces can make gameplay feel cumbersome. Running between your castle, the forest, and a boss dungeon will occasionally take up more of your time than engaging in combat or exploring. Some players continue to experience performance difficulties. Stuttering and memory leaks may occur longer sessions or on extremely populated servers. Some console players complain about uncomfortable controls and a UI that isn't always intuitive. It does not break the game, but it can take you out of the experience. Finally, while PvE is enjoyable, it may feel secondary to the PvP focus. If you enjoy solo exploration and story-driven gameplay, some aspects of the game may feel repetitive, especially if you're revisiting old places or grinding for materials. So yeah, there are some issues. V-Rising isn't perfect, but here's the thing. These drawbacks never totally outweigh the thrill of fighting, the joy of castle construction, or the adrenaline of PvP. So, where does V-Rising stand in 2025 after spending hours immersed in it? We firmly believe that this is a worthwhile game to play. Every aspect of the vampire fantasy is perfectly captured in it, including the excitement and turmoil of multiplayer PvP, the thrill of the battle, the fulfillment of constructing your own gothic castle, and the looming danger of the outside world. Every accomplishment feels earned, whether it's taking down a boss, finishing a risky raid, or just seeing your fortress finished. You are gradually rising to the position as the top predator in a living, breathing environment. Performance isn't always flawless, some design quirks cause problems, and the grind can be difficult, but those shortcomings never completely ruin the experience. Well, that's our review of V-Rising in 2025. What do you think? Have you returned to this game recently, or are you planning to dive in for the first time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your experiences, stories, and favorite moments. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss on more in-depth reviews and first impressions. Thank you for watching, and remember, in V Rising, it's not just about surviving the night, it's about owning it.